2020 is a rough time to be alive, isn't it? Well, nothing on the 1920s, which saw the Tulsa Massacre, or the 1820s when there was that Constantinople Massacre. The 1720s were oddly massacre-free, though the gridiron pendulum was invented in 1726, so that was probably enough excitement for a while. The 1620s, however, featured the Jamestown Massacre, so if I'm saying anything here, it's you should never underestimate the peacekeeping qualities of a pendulum that compensates for temperature. Either that, or it's time we sit down with our children and tell them just how much worse it can get by teaching them all about race and racism. Because what's the point in having kids if you're not gonna scare the living hell out of them? Right, Huffington Post?
Non-Black families should be having conversations about race.
But why? And with a name like Kenya, you were always destined to be in a video like this, weren't you? Your whole life has been leading up to this moment, so don't mess it up.
Because racism is a systemic issue.
Yeah, so let's talk to kids about it. They're the only ones around here who can get shit done. Problem solved. Oh, I do love me some ominous piano. Anyway, as anti-racism protests continue across the country, families are reckoning with their own views and behaviours around race. Are they, though? Considering the amount of things that are burning around these protests, I think most people are telling their kids where the fire exits are. Oh, for God's sake, I didn't come here to read a video. For non-black families, having these conversations with children could be new territory. Well, no, not really. We've been scaring the bejesus out of our children since the dawn of time. Normally it's harmless stuff, though, like if you don't eat your vegetables, then the boogeyman will get you. Now it's, hey, kids, that man who lives across the street might want to kill you because of the colour of your skin. So, be on the lookout for racist murderers.
When it comes to talking to children about race, I think it's important to do it as early as possible.
Oh yeah, because who needs a happy childhood? Tell them about race, drag them to protest, sign them up for the army. And why is this girl giving me the stink eye right now? Kid, I could destroy you. Back off.
If it is not addressed at an early age, then white children growing up are contributing to our country's current problems with racism and prejudice.
What? Did I just hear that right? If you don't talk to them about race at a young age, then white kids are just gonna be racists. Like that's the default setting or something. Now, this may just be me, but to suggest white people are inherently evil, isn't that, I dunno, racist?
A lot of families are relying on current events to introduce the subject. You know, did you see what just happened on the news?
Yeah, because all children keep up with current events, don't they? I've tried getting my nephew to watch Sesame Street, but he keeps switching it back to CNN.
Have you heard what altercations or what events transpired with the police?
The police? Don't blame the police. Look at that fire in the background. That looks like 1,500 degrees of peaceful protest to me.
Some of the key issues families should be talking about is the fact that what we're seeing today is the result of long-standing issues that have occurred in this country.
See, I think it's a result of no one in this picture having a job.
If you are not walking in the shoes or having life experiences for someone that is a person of color,
then you probably have a firm grasp on reality. I mean, would I like to walk in the shoes of a person of color? Sure, I'd love a scholarship. Who wouldn't?
It can be hard to understand and see what those struggles are for people of color.
It's hard to... sorry, I thought I was getting attacked by Medusa. Anyway, it's hard to understand the struggles and experiences of black people. So, parents of non-black families, sit down with your kids and tell them, you wouldn't get it, Whitey.
For parents who don't know much about America's racial history, I would suggest that they begin to learn about it.
Or you could, what's the phrase I'm looking for here? Concentrate on raising your kids, that's it. You don't need to make them so woke that they start quoting Martin Luther King, like they wake you up in the middle of the night going, I had a bad dream. Experts say that adults should reflect on their own conscious and unconscious bias since children often mirror their parents' behaviour. Who are these experts? Bit of a broad term that, isn't it? And sure, children mirror their parents' behaviour until they rebel against them, which is why you'll never find a millennial who owns their own home.
If you think about having conversations with children, not talking to children, but talking with children.
So don't be as condescending as you're being right now. Got it?
They're actually involved in a conversation where their ideas and their thoughts and opinions are valued.
But their thoughts and opinions are idiots. They care about the colour of their lunchbox, not the colour of their skin. Why would you want to change that? And let's give a big hand to Getty Images for the stock footage being used right now. And that woman who's currently thinking, God, I wish this bitch would shut up. And there's nothing in those mugs. That's not how you hold it when there's a hot drink in there. You burn your hand.
And when it comes to having conversations with children about race,
Aw, look, it's a kid coming out to his father. He's saying, Dad, I'm brown. And the dad's like, yeah, about that. 16 years ago, your mother had an affair.
it tells them that this is a topic that it is okay to talk about. It's the topic that it's okay for me to question.
Well, yeah, you can talk about race as much as you want. As long as it's about how black people are disadvantaged at every turn, Obama who, and white people have an implicit bias regarding colour, and to suggest certain people act in certain ways is racism, unless you're talking about the aforementioned white people, in which case, have at it, son. Now, how about a game of catch with your old man? Oh, you're still watching CNN? Okay, that's fine. I'll go ask mummy's boyfriend instead.
Kids do learn more from what you do than what you say.
So, by that logic, you're suggesting this child wanted to be at this protest. When given the choice between this and playing with her dolls, she picked this. Well, alright, I don't blame her. I mean, it's not very often you get to see a local business on fire, is it?
They see how you behave in certain situations.
On the other hand, having conversations about racism and discrimination in black households is already commonplace. Well, that explains why so many people are convinced they're victims then, doesn't it? And when did we start giving the word black a capital letter? That's new, isn't it? I'd say that's symbolic of the Huffington Post's desire to end racism by putting an incredible amount of focus on race.
Black parents already are doing this.
What, all of them? You must have a huge amount of data on the subject to be able to make such a bold claim. You care to share it with the rest of the class? No? Huh, weird.
They are having conversations with their children in a process that's referred to as racial socialization.
That sounds terrifying. Who in their right mind would say to their children, there's too much joy in this household, it's time to talk about why you are wrong to be happy. And then later on they're in a courtroom with the lawyer saying to the kid, show us on this doll where he racially socialized you.
So they socialize their children to exist and thrive and be successful in a highly racialized society.
Well, except for that blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid who's almost pulling off the Nazi salute. I'm watching you, Hans.
The other thing that they do is actually talk to children about what they love about the way they look.
Okay, yeah, fine. I mean, it's a bit narcissistic, but fine. As long as it's not, what do you like about your skin colour? And the kid is like, well, I don't know, I've never thought about it. So the parent goes, you're wrong. You should always be thinking about it. George Floyd died for your sins. Now go and say 20 oh Hail Marys.
The other thing they do is help their children to appreciate Black brilliance.
Black brilliance? What the? So in other words, kids, you're playing for a team. Good God.
So by Black brilliance, I mean all of the wide variety of Black celebrities and stars and athletes.
I notice you didn't put Chris Brown or Bill Cosby in there.
Who are doing fabulous things in their profession and outside their profession.
Whoa, hold on. Colin Kaepernick? The quarterback who couldn't read defense so he would just run off with the ball? The quarterback who got sacked 28 times over 9 games in 2015? The quarterback that sucks so much that Google now lists him as an American activist rather than an athlete. You know, maybe you should have put Bill Cosby in there.
And then a final thing that they can do and are doing It's helping their children understand the history of their people, where they came from.
Who's this guy? Look, when you say the history of their people, it implies there's a us and them mentality being taught here. I think we want to avoid that, don't we? Don't we? Oh, for fuck. Black children begin to see the effects of both systemic and interpersonal racism from a young age. Yeah, because they're being told to look for it. It's like the white arrow in the FedEx logo. I was blissfully unaware until someone told me it was there, and now it's all I can see.
They are aware of being treated differently than other people.
And I'm sure that's not because you've been drilling it into their heads. No, they came to that conclusion all by themselves, didn't they?
What they may not be able to do is figure out why they're being treated differently.
So you mean to tell me the concept of race and indeed racism is a subject too complex for a child's tiny little mind? Well, that is brand new information.
And that's why it's so important for adults to have conversations with children, because they will be impacted emotionally by that treatment.
Yes, an emotional impact. So that conversation might best be left until it happens, if it happens. Because the world isn't chock full of clan members, you know. I just don't understand why some people are so miserable that they feel the need to pass it on to their offspring.
And they won't be able to make sense of it. This is not something that should be temporary.
Kinda feels like you just admitted to perpetuating the cycle of victimhood, but okay.
The conversations that they start with their children should be ongoing. They should be talking to their children at 4. They should be talking to them at 14, at 25.
25? What the it's not like renewing your passport, woman. You can't be giving them a refresher course in why they should be terrified of the world every financial quarter. And look at this crap. White silence is violence. Am I gonna have to one day sit down with my kids and explain how some people will blame everything on them?
This is something that we need to continue to do throughout our life.
No, I don't think we do. In fact, I'll go so far as to say if we don't teach tiny little children about the importance of race and ethnicity, then you may well find there is less racism in the future. But that's not gonna work for these ladies, as Aisha here is the director of the Pride program, so she's actually made it her job to make people hypersensitive when it comes to skin color. And Kenya is a neuropsychologist. She'd be out of work if people didn't screw up their kids. So maybe they should think about changing their names to Supply and Demand. Thanks for watching, guys. Please consider becoming a patron because the only colour that matters is the colour of money. And check out my Twitch channel where I play games and talk to myself for long periods of time. The links are in the description, and remember, oh drunklets! Now, I know this is a heavy subject and you are very young, but it's time I taught you guys about the gridiron pendulum.